to you.
Yeah.
Really fast. Or have you started?
No, I was sorry.
Oh, is this edited or?
Is it going to be edited?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we have any issues that comes up, then yeah, I'm going to edit it.
Okay, good.
It's okay. Yeah, no worries. All right. So I'm going to introduce you, and we're going to get started. Ready?
Okay.
Am I live already? Thank you. Welcome everyone to In the Know with Cat Bobino. Today my extra special guest is coming all the way from Louisiana. We are talking to the future, very, very soon, Dr. Juita Martinez. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on?
Yeah, so right now I'm a third year PhD student at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And right now my main focus is studying the effects of restoration on our coastline. For those that are not aware of Louisiana, we are sinking rapidly and losing a lot of land.
Ew.
So there's been a lot of money that's been put into restoring our coastline. Unfortunately, all of this restoration work is not meant for wildlife. It is meant to save human infrastructure and also just to protect us from storm surges and things like hurricanes, which happen here quite regularly between like July and October. So my main focus is I want to know, after these islands, which are home to seabirds such as brown pelicans, how do their populations react basically to all of this human influence and these changes in their habitats? Is it positive? Is it negative? Maybe nothing at all. Maybe they stay the same. So that's currently what I'm studying.
Awesome. So how long have you been working on this project?
Since spring of 2018. So I'm just beginning my third year right now. And funny that you asked that, I actually leave tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, I go out to my very island tomorrow for the first time this field season. And our field season lasts basically from tomorrow until July 30th, 31st.
So you're going to be in the field basically on some island or on an island off the coast until July?
Yeah, so we go about every other week.
Okay. So that's a long time. You're going into your third year. So have you seen any interaction? Is it bad for the birds? Good for the birds? No problem with the birds?
Yeah. So my preliminary data, which is amazing, we actually get data from our camera traps, and camera traps are basically what hunters would use to like track animals in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
But we repurpose them and use them in these seabird colonies because that means I don't have to go in there and disturb the birds every single day. I just go once every 2 weeks, and the cameras basically take a picture anytime there's motion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm having they update on what their lives are. It's like a reality TV show, but for seabirds, basically.
I'm sure there's plenty of drama with those birds.
There's so much drama. I need to show you some of these photos. Oh, they're wild. Like,
send them my way. That's amazing. Yeah. But keep going.
And so basically our data so far show that we are more likely to see these pelican chicks make it to a point where they can fly away more frequently on restored islands than we do on unrestored islands. So the reason why I'm studying restored islands versus unrestored islands is so I have something to compare it to.
Right.
So not only do we see more success on restored islands, we also see a larger number of pelicans utilizing these restored islands. So all the preliminary stuff is like, yay, restoration is great.
Right.
But even though it is great, I hope that my dissertation will help to inform these coastal managers on how to not just restore these places, but how we can restore them and make them extremely beneficial for wildlife.
Awesome. That's amazing. So all this work that you're doing on these pelicans and this restoration in Louisiana, like how did this get started? what was your desire with our national birds and getting into this?
So I'm actually from California.
What part?
Yeah. Oh, I was living in San Francisco at the time, but I'm from Los Angeles.
Okay.
I was actually working for the Audubon out there, and I was already working with seabirds and water birds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of a funny story how I got here. It was it was on my bucket list to live in Louisiana.
Okay.
Like, everyone's always like, really? I was like, yeah, I've been in California for too long. I need a new change. And I applied to two grad school, actually. One for master's, one for PhD. And how I found my PI was actually just through a posting on like Texas A&M, the Wildlife Journal Board.
Yes, I know that board. I'm gonna share that with you guys.
Yeah, that is an amazing job board. If you need a job, please go on that website. It is amazing.
Yes.
I met the professor in Washington, which was like the first grad program that I applied to. And then after that, I had met my PI now, which is in Louisiana. And it was like the complete opposite. I needed to have met the Washington PI in order to figure out that, oh yeah, the Louisiana one was definitely the right choice.
Right.
And I've actually been working with this system since like the mid 2000s. So he's been really one of the forefronts in like making sure that the pelicans are doing well since they went extinct in the 1960s.
So pelicans went to extinct in the 1960s?
Yeah, like due to DDT, Louisiana, the state bird,
yes,
was no longer found in Louisiana.
Wow.
All the pelicans that we have in the state right now, for the most part, are transplanted from Florida. So in the mid to late 1960s, after the extinction happened, so agencies and the public came together and were like, all right, we got to fix this. We're a state bird. Like,
right.
We got to fix our problem. So they decided to bring a little over 1,000 chicks over from Florida, and they raised them on these islands in Louisiana in hopes that when they grew up and were ready to start mating, they would return to Louisiana. And decades later, that was the success story. So it would be really cool to have that not happen again.
Yes. So
that would not be good if it happened twice.
No. So just for reference to the audience, DDT was a chemical that was used back in the day, and it was used everywhere as a pesticide. And unfortunately, what was happening is they were killing the insects, but at the same time, the birds and the mammals who were eating those insects were also ingesting the DDT. And when you are ingesting something that ate it, like an insect might have ate 1,000 per part of it, but it multiplies in the seabirds with all the insects that they're eating and all of the stuff that's going on with it. So what was happening was the birds' eggs were coming out very, very thin. And when the birds would sit on them, they would crack. So we were losing a lot of birds, state birds like the pelican, even the bald eagle. We were losing so many birds to DDT exposure. And so there was an expose on it. It was a woman who did it. I can't remember her name, but she got the ball rolling because they didn't want to hear it. They was like, no, DDT is great. But
Rachel Carson? Are you talking about Rachel Carson?
Is it Rachel Carson? It was, yeah, it was, she wrote the book. Yeah. Yes, that's from the movie. But, you know, but she was able to show people what DDT was doing to the birds. And so now we don't use it, obviously. And we're getting our birds back, thank God. But apparently that was the reason why we lost pelicans in Louisiana. So that's a little history on that. But yeah. Let's go back to what you're doing and how you got involved. So what are the classes or the things that you're studying when it comes to preparing you to work with pelicans?
So I actually had this amazing postdoc in my lab, Brock Geary. Shout out to him. He literally taught me everything that I know. And my other amazing lab mate, Paige Byerly, like, between the two of them, like, I learned how to safely get to these islands because I have to drive a boat, and it takes about an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah. Everything from, like, banding these pelicans. So we band them so that we can actually track them in the future.
Right.
So let's banded a pelican on Island A. If we happen to see the same pelican on Island B, we can make that observation and say, oh, maybe it preferred Island B for some reason, and it had moved from normal location. We also get notifications that people have spotted our pelicans in Texas. Like, over the winter. So it's a really non-invasive way to track these pelicans for a really long time.
Right.
They live multiple decades. And anyone in the world who sees one of these bands can actually report it, and we get a notification when they report it. Something else that Brock Geary taught me was how to put GPS trackers on pelicans, and basically make a backpack, and we can actually get a GPS location every 15 minutes as to where they are. So we can figure out, are they using restored sites more often than unrestored sites? Because not only are the islands being restored, the whole coastline is being restored.
Wow.
So that's something I'm really interested in looking at. And I don't know, classes at my school, there's a lot of classes. I just have a master's.
Right.
So I had to take, like, way more classes than someone who didn't have a master's, but it's been amazing. Like, I've learned so much since I've been here, and I'm so grateful.
Okay, so what type of classes? Like, if someone was to say, oh, I'm interested in studying pelicans just like you, like, what are classes that they can start taking maybe in undergrad or in preparation to do something like this?
Okay, ornithology, which is the study of birds.
Yep.
If you're interested in studying birds, I would definitely highly recommend taking that class. We went real in-depth into, like, how feathers are made, like, all these things. I'd never taken ornithology before.
Yeah.
I just took it last spring, and it was mind-blowing. If you're interested in the conservation side of things, I would highly recommend conservation biology. I'm so used to, like, shortening it.
It's okay.
I actually took that class in undergrad, and I took it again as a graduate student, and they're always different, and you always get something out of it. So don't be afraid to take class twice.
Right.
Take the same class again in your graduate studies. Trying to think. I actually took a really interesting class. It was called Estuarine Ecology and Marine Biology. I don't have a background in marine bio, so I feel like I learned a lot about how systems work, especially in Louisiana.
Right.
And how all the different islands were formed, which was wild. And the river movement. Who would have thought?
Yeah, like, did you have to take, like, limnology? Like,
I did not. It is not one of them. I don't even know if my school offers that. It might.
I took that class. It's just like the ologies, the studies of stuff is a lot. Like, limnology is the study of water, basically, like the ocean, the different depths, things like that. So you can study a lot of different things when it comes to science.
Yes, ma'am.
So let me take this moment to say thank you to everyone who's joined us on Facebook Live. I see you, DJ, Bobby, Damien. Thank you so much. And we're going to keep on going. This is In the Know with Cat Bobino. We are talking to the future very soon, very, very soon, Dr. Juita Martinez. I can't see it. But we were just talking about some of the stuff that we have studied and things like that. So we got a question from the audience, and it is, what is a pelican's pouch called? So I'm assuming they mean the throat area of the pelican. So what would you call that?
I have it right. It's actually called a gular pouch.
Okay.
And they use that when they plunge. So I study brown pelicans, and they're the only pelicans that will plunge dive from, like, a certain height, about 50 feet to 70 feet. And they use that pouch to scoop up fish, basically. And if you've ever had the opportunity to watch them feed, it's amazing because their pouch will fill with water. And they'll slowly let the water drip out of this gular pouch, and then they'll swallow the fish really fast.
Right.
So that means the birds can't steal it from them.
Wow. So this is random, but I've seen like YouTube videos where the pelicans are eating more than just fish. Like I saw one where there was a pelican. I don't know if it was a brown pelican, but it was a pelican that ate another bird. Is that something you guys are seeing?
I have never seen. I know what video. I've seen that video. People have sent me that, and I was like,
Yes.
I mean, it looks real.
Right. Like the bird flying everywhere in the pouch, and it was just like, it was crazy.
Did it spit it out? I don't remember the end of that video.
No, I think it actually swallowed it.
It swallowed.
Yeah.
Man, okay, maybe that bird was really hungry. I mean, with the competition for fish and the fish stocks like really decreasing, sometimes if you're hungry, you do some wild things.
Right.
But I personally have only ever seen pelicans like feed on fish.
Okay, good, because I was hoping that's not an epidemic that was starting and more.
They are supposed to feed on fish.
Good. Okay. All right. So, anyway, back to you. So what undergrad did you go to? What did you study there? And then how'd you get into the Audubon? I know it's like a million questions at once, but.
Oh, no, all good. Okay. I went to Humboldt State University.
Oh, okay.
Do you know of Humboldt?
Yeah, up Northern California.
Oh my God, yes. Most people don't know. Humboldt is a little hippie town, living in the forest for 5 years.
Yes.
My major was zoology. I was, like, since I was a kid, I was pre-vet. Like, no one could tell me anything different.
Right.
I was going to be vet. So I was like, how far can I get from home but still have in-state tuition? Humboldt State University, 700 miles away. Parents weren't too happy about it, but they were fine. They made it through.
Yes.
And I, like, after my first year, I actually got an NSF REU, which is National Science Foundation Research Experience for Undergraduates. And if there's any undergrads listening to this, go for that. I'm pretty sure some applications are still open. They pay you to do research, and they fly you to a different campus. I actually got flown to the College of Charleston in South Carolina. I lived there for 3 months and did research. That was the turning point for me when I was like, I don't even like seeing blood. Why did I think I could be a veterinarian?
Right.
No. And then I was like, this is it. I need to be in research. I love asking you questions. I love, like, you can discover anything. Sometimes, like, your question led you to something totally different.
Yeah.
Which actually happened to me. We found something that we didn't even know was there. And at the time I was studying how these bacteria in shrimp were getting, when they were exposed to antibiotics, are getting higher and higher antimicrobial resistance.
Oh.
And we found that the stream that we caught them in, which we thought was pristine, was actually not. It was pre-contaminated. And we weren't even looking for that. Oh, this is gnarly. Because our control also had antibiotic resistance, and they were never exposed by us.
Oh, wow.
It was gnarly.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I think that, especially if you are in undergrad or you have a student in undergrad, even high school, but more undergrad, there are opportunities out there. So you just got to apply. NSF grants are amazing. They give you they open your mind to different things. Like I was pre-vet also. I think if you're young and you like animals, somebody in your life is going to be like, oh, you should be a veterinarian. And you just think that's what it is. But there's all these different opportunities that are out there. And once you see it and you do it, you get chances to really open your mind to it. And breaking down what Dr. Martinez is saying, bacteria, bacteria in your body, you want to fight it, right? So you want to give antibodies to it. But the more and more we give antibodies to different bacteria, when they regrow or they grow and they multiply, their future quote unquote offspring become resistant. So she was studying the resistance of those bacteria to medicine that were living in shrimp. And which makes it disgusting, is that the pristine water they got it from obviously was not pristine. So it was gross. So that they were getting bacteria from it. So, and I just had shrimp the other day, so that doesn't make me comfortable with the idea.
You cooked it. It was fine.
So somebody on Facebook said that the backpack that they put on the pelican should be called the Pelican Pouch. Okay.
We have the Goulart pouch. We should come up with a name though.
Okay. What do you guys call it now?
I honestly just call it a GPS backpack. I'm not very creative out there.
So we can call it the Pelican Pouch from now on. That's their GPS backpack. That's a win. I'll take it. So when you... and so another tidbit, Humboldt State is not far. I feel like it's Berkeley in the woods. It's very hippie.
And smaller.
Yeah. I don't know about now. I don't know when you went to school, but when I was in college, I was always hear about how Humboldt State still had communal bathtubs, and people can go in and do those communal baths. I don't know if they still do it, but very, very hippie up at Humboldt.
Okay, I never heard about that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that I've never heard about it. So maybe it doesn't.
I mean,
I love Humboldt State. It was the most peaceful 5 years of my life.
I can see that. I can if you're from LA and San Francisco, going to Humboldt is almost like going to a different state.
Yeah, it is. Where there's no judgment. You could go barefoot to class. No one would look at you differently. There was just no judgment there. It was awesome.
Okay.
And it was a great place.
That's cool, because when I went to visit, I was like, you want me to go to school where? In the middle of no man's land?
The odd thing was oh my gosh, there's one airport and one airline if you need to get out. Or you're going to drive on the one highway. There was only one highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little isolating, a little bubble. I did have to get out after 5 years though.
Oh.
I was ready.
I was ready
after 5 years.
I completely understand. So what was the work that you were doing? So I'm guessing after, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing after undergrad, you came back to San Francisco, or you came to San Francisco and you started working for the Audubon. And so what was the work that you were doing at the Audubon?
I actually did 2 jobs in between.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a little wild, I know. So with Audubon, okay. The story gets a little crazy. I'm this can only happen to me, but I'm going to try to explain it. So I started working for the Audubon as a field technician, since I only had my bachelor's.
Right.
And there were I had 2 bosses. One was a conservation manager, and the other one was a coastal bird manager, I think. I don't know their title. They both quit within a month of me starting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just for the people out there being oh, wow, everything is hitting the fan. Just wait. It always gets better. Me and the other field tech who got hired at the same time basically took over their jobs. So we did everything from island restoration. We were out there planting native plants.
Oh, wow.
Because there were 3 berry islands that this particular Audubon was in charge of. We would also do bird surveys, so bird counts, to see how many birds were utilizing Audubon's properties.
Okay.
We also did a ton of SciComm stuff where we would host events for the public to just come and either help us on these islands and help us replant, or even in our greenhouse, getting the plants propagated so that we could plant them out in the wild. So we did a little bit of everything. I built a greenhouse, a whole greenhouse.
Okay.
I know. From LA, built a whole apple surprise too. The box said it would take 8 hours. I think it took me 8 days.
Oh, wow.
There's a disclaimer for anyone out there looking for a greenhouse. They're a lot harder to build.
Yes, I believe it. Wow, and then you got to the bird, like the working with like the seabirds. Okay.
Yeah. So after Audubon, I got accepted into the university that I'm at now, and I've been here ever since.
So why was Louisiana on your bucket list to live?
Like, I've always heard about the culture here and the history, and I just thought that was super cool. Because, okay, I feel like in California, there's not as much, like, ingrained into, like, the daily life. But if you go to New Orleans, for example, oh my gosh, it's just saturated in culture, and you have all these little bits and pieces, and everyone is so nice and friendly. It's an amazing time.
Wow.
I think I've done like 20 tours. I want to know everything. It's super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been to Louisiana a couple times, and hopefully if I come back to Louisiana, maybe I can hit you up, and you can I just want to see the birds. I don't need to go. I mean, I'll go to the island. Don't get me wrong. I will go. But,
You keep you on the boat, and you can just see it from far away.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, I will go. I don't have to. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I could get on the island and get up close and personal, I would do it. I have no shame in my game. I love animals. I will be all up in there.
I'm allowed to take volunteers.
Okay, so now I need to plan a trip. Yes, I need to plan a trip. Okay, I'm putting that on my planning, guys, audience. I am starting to plan trips so that I can go and actually film things in nature. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be doing deer captures in 2 weeks with some other biologists that I know. And I get to go in there, and I'm going to probably be taking the blood. That's my job that they've given me because I used to be a vet tech. So they're like, okay, you get to take the blood sample because you're good at that.
You take my blood samples for my pelicans. I also take blood samples, but I'll give it to you. You can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is on the list. All right, I'm serious. I am planning this. I am going. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have until July, right? That's when you guys stop going?
Yes, the end of July. I will say, I feel like on my Twitter, I post all the, like, funny and, like, more, like, covered up side. I'm going to admit that you'll be covered in pelican poop. Like, there's 10,000 birds around you, and when you're walking by, they all fly at once, and it rains, but not the good kind of rain. That's my usual warning. I'm like, okay, I know I make it sound really, like, nice, which it is. It's so cool, because very, like, few people get to go on these islands. You need a permit. You can't just go
Yeah, there's so many, like, wildlife, especially, like, out here, the East Bay parks. That's why I'm going with biologists. You need permits to go do any of this stuff. You know, you can't just go up to an animal and tackle it and be like, I'm taking a sample. No, you need permits to do this. So that's...
I'll take the bad because the good is so much better.
Right. And so somebody said they really like your laugh. They think it's adorable and cute. And then somebody asked on Facebook about your spiritual connection to the pelicans, and how do you feel about that? Like, how's your connection with them?
That is a good question. Wow. I've always, as a kid, I was always that weirdo that you would find me outside, like, following ants. Like, my parents thought there was something wrong with me. And I was like, oh, man, maybe there is. I don't know.
Don't worry. Like, I was the same way. You're kind of like my spiritual animal right now, because if I wasn't outside watching an animal, I was reading Ranger Rick magazine or watching something.
Oh, my God. Yes.
You love Ranger Rick magazine?
Yeah. Wait, sorry?
You loved Ranger Rick magazine?
Yes. Like, I had, like, all of my subscriptions were, like, animal-based. Like, I was either outside with animals, or I was reading about animals,
yes,
or I was watching, like, Animal Planet. It was...
I completely understand.
None of my friends were like that. Like, I never met a single person that loved animals besides me, or who I saw on TV. So, yes. I've always felt like it was my job or my duty to, like, do something to and like really advocate for animals who couldn't advocate for themselves.
Yes.
So I feel like it's, even though I wasn't born and raised in Louisiana, like I have since solidified like my goal here is to like provide information so the next generation of scientists who go out here and study these pelicans will also help them and hopefully prevent them from going extinct again.
That's amazing.
I feel so lucky to get to go out there. Like every time I take a new volunteer out there who's never been in a seabird colony, like I love watching their face being like, you know, Juita, you talk about it, but being there in like the middle of it, it's the coolest experience.
I'm sure it is. So, I mean, I don't know that experience per se, but I do know the experience of going to Alcatraz, which is covered in birds. So, as soon as you get off the boat, you will get pooped on. So, it's just inevitable. You will get pooped on. So, I already know that I will have that plastic brain gear, the cheap one that I'm going to probably throw away because I already know I'm going to get pooped on. It's birds, you know, and fun fact about birds, you know, here's a little nerd moment, but because birds have to fly and their bones are hollow, so they have to be really light to fly, they don't have solid poop. All their food and everything they have comes out as that liquid. So you will never get that solid poop that you be like, oh, that's cool. No, it's going to be wet, splatter poop.
Yes.
So, I already know this. I've accepted that.
You should have said you haven't experienced the pelicans yet.
I have not experienced the pelican or pelican poop yet.
Yes.
But I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Okay, so it's a lot. And thank you guys who's joining us on Facebook Live. You're part of In the Know with Cat Bobino. Thanks for asking those great questions. Keep asking us questions. We are about halfway through, but we're going to keep on talking. And I wanted to ask you, with all the work that you're doing, what do you see for yourself in like the next 5 years?
I'm a little torn because there's this big talk on Twitter about representation in academia. I'm going to speak for myself. I have never had a teacher, a professor, an instructor of color.
Wow.
I've never, ever in my, I don't know what grade I'm in anymore. Whatever grade I'm in.
Never in your like 18th year of school.
So part of me wants to go into academia so I could be that representation.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of me is like, this wasn't made for me. Like, the table is there, but it's going to be a very hard seat to keep. So that's why I actually I went into my PhD hoping that I would get into academia. Which is still a very large possibility. I'm still considering it.
Okay.
And but I also have worked for government agencies such as the National Park Foundation and NOAA, and I loved my jobs there. So in the next 5 years, I hope to have a big girl job. Great. I hope to continue to make a difference, not only with wildlife, but also with representation and SciComm and like, this is what a scientist is. Like, I'm also a scientist. We come in all different shapes and sizes.
Yep.
And just hopefully doing my part.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why I do the show, is because science, tech, engineering, math, it comes in all forms and fashion. You know, there's not a lot of representation, especially in media, when it comes to that. So I'm trying to, it's a very, very uphill battle, but that's what I'm working on. I want it to be like, I don't want it to be that I'm a scientist and I know everything, because I don't. I want to introduce you to the other scientists who can teach you things that I can't teach you. So that's my hope with this. And I thank people like you who answer my Twitter message and actually say, yes, I'll be on your show. Because I was stalking people on Twitter like a week ago. I was like, I need more guests. I'm gonna start sending messages to everybody that has science like anywhere near their stuff. So thank you for responding.
Thank you for your part. This is awesome. This is amazing. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome, thank you. So we're gonna transition a little bit. Let's talk about what you do outside of science.
Okay. I love being outside, even though I'm outside most of the year. I recently just got back into like wildlife photography, picking up my camera since this is my last semester of classes.
Yeah.
I'm only in one real class. I'm like, oh wow, I actually have time to do stuff that is not studying and
right.
writing paper. So I'm really big on my wildlife photography. Usually it is of pelicans, but I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to stay away from pelicans because that's all I talk about. I used to like hiking a lot, but Louisiana's flat, y'all.
Yeah.
If you do not currently live in Louisiana, it is flat.
Yes, it is.
Flat, and I came from somewhere where there was mountains and elevation. I currently live at 30 feet above sea level.
Wow.
Yeah. What else do I like to do? I'm trying to think. I love to travel. That's probably like the big thing that I do every year. Right now I'm on a mission to visit all of the World Heritage Sites. Not World, oh yeah, World Wonders, sorry. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
All the World Wonders. And I've hit Machu Picchu and Chichen Itza in Mexico. So I have 5 more to go.
Nice. So, all right, let's go back to photography. So what got you into the photography? I know it's wildlife photography, so it's still kind of under the belt. But what got you into the photography part?
So my mom, okay, back in the day, for the youngins who didn't know this, they used to have film cameras, and my mom was obsessed with taking photos. And I used to remember watching her as a kid, like taking photos of us and the surroundings, and I was like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't care. And then I realized, like, I really appreciate those photos because they're snapshots in time, and anytime I look at one, I'm like, that's what I was doing at that moment. And at that timestamp, and I don't know, it's very like a nostalgic feeling being able to like look back at where you've been and what you've seen. Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I've never been more forgetful since I started my PhD. I'm just like, what did I promise I was gonna do? I tell my undergrads, I'm like, please bother me. Like, please send me 3 emails because I probably didn't see the first 2 because they're buried somewhere. So I love just being able to document everything, and I'm starting to make a website. Like just a professional one, to put stuff on there.
Yes.
I'm more than just like my work.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, and if you follow her on Twitter, which we'll get to her handle shortly, but she does have a lot of photos, mostly of pelicans, but they are very nice photos, you know. So what got you into the travel aspect, especially like what makes you want to hit all the natural wonders?
So I like never got to travel when I was younger, but I always knew that I wanted to see the world. Like, the world is such a big place, and I love learning about different cultures and the different foods and the history behind like places and people and how it got to where it is today. I try to avoid the touristy spots when I can. None of the world wonders are like non-touristy. There's always a ton of tourists, but I try to like the non-touristy spots and explore around. And it just like it brings me so much joy to like see other places. And the world is so big. Like, I feel so small when I travel. And I think it's a very grounding and humbling experience. When I get on a plane and I don't know the language, I don't know where I'm going, I have an address. I have an address on a piece of paper. I'm hoping I'll get there. And science has really, like, being in this field has actually, like, helped me do that. Because the first time I ever got to travel was to South Carolina. It was to work, but I also got to explore a whole different state. I had never left California before that.
Oh, wow.
That was my first time. I went by myself when I was 19. And ever since then, I got to go to conferences and talk to other scientists. But at the same time, these conferences are in like amazing places. I got to go to Alaska in last June.
Yeah.
In a million years, if you told me I would visit Alaska, I would have been like, yeah, right. Like, no.
And Alaska is freaking beautiful. If you get an opportunity to go to Alaska, you need to go. Alaska is gorgeous.
It was mind-blowing. Oh my, wow. I was like, I could move here during the summer. But just the summer, because I don't know about snow.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like, I actually went to New Zealand about a year and a half ago. And I met a guy there who actually has a house in New Zealand and a house in Alaska. And he was like, I was like, so what? Why Alaska? It's like freaking 0 or negative 40 degrees in the winter. And he was like, I'm not there in the winter. He was like, I'm there in the summer, you know, because he's retired. So he was like, I'm there in the summer in my house with all the beauty. And then when it starts getting cold, because, you know, New Zealand is the opposite weather. He was like, yeah, so I'm in New Zealand for the summer. So I was like, I get that. I was like, now I've been thinking all wrong. I need a house in another country.
We gotta work up to that.
Right. Right. I was like, oh yeah, because them houses in Alaska apparently are not that expensive. And, you know, but you just gotta figure out where you're gonna go. Like, you can go to Anchorage, which isn't bad, but if you go like anywhere outside of Anchorage, that freaking, you gotta fly there, basically. It's hard to drive in Alaska. You gotta fly everywhere in Alaska. So, yeah. But anyway, where's your favorite place that you've been so far?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, my high school best friends and I, we all graduated at the same time. We got our bachelors. And we were like, okay, you know, we've been in school for too long. We've been doing homework for too long. We don't have exams. We have nothing, right? I mean, I had a job, like, lined up, but I had a little bit of a break. And we decided to travel around Southeast Asia for a month and a half.
Ooh.
And my favorite place ever is called El Nido, Palawan, and it's in the Philippines. And I don't know how I got convinced to do this, because I'm probably the most adventurous out of all my friends, but one of them was like, we have to go island camping. And when I say island camping, I mean, it was bamboo. We had 2 walls, and we only had 2 walls. There were 2 missing, and a roof, a mosquito net, and we stayed there for a whole week. And we didn't see another tourist. We hung out with the locals. We ate the local food, like straight from the ground. Like, they picked it and they cooked it. I'm a vegetarian, but the meat was also grown on that island. Everything was fresh. It was the best time. Like, we didn't have cell service.
I'm gonna need you to send me that information, because that sounds amazing. Although, I mean, I'm weary of the bathroom situation, but that sounds super amazing. Yeah. The bathroom.
There was no plumbing.
Yeah, that part I'm a little weary about. But other than that, the rest of it sounds amazing. You know, especially like the food that's homegrown and there. Like, I bet that was the freshest meal. Oh, like, I'm salivating just thinking about it. That's sad. I'm just like thinking about it.
And they catered to me as a vegetarian. Like, that's what I was more shocked about. Because usually I get the weirdest looks when I travel, and they're like, you don't eat what?
Right.
I don't eat meat. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, like, that's amazing. And so I had someone who asked me about School of Rock. So School of Rock is an organization that sends scientists or people who are in education, in geology education mostly, to places that they may not have been, and they get to learn about geology. So that was the reason I was in New Zealand. I went with School of Rock, and I went as a biologist. But I went as a science communicator, and so it was an opportunity for me to learn more about geology, which I never wanted to take a class in geology. I never thought, well, I don't want to study rocks. What rocks, you know, dirt. I don't want to study that. But, you know, geology is actually pretty amazing. So it opened my eyes to what they're doing in geology, which I never, ever in a million years would have thought I would be a part of. So check out School of Rock. They do it every year in different locations. So that was cool.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you get in science, there is so many opportunities for travel, for education, for conference. Like, science is where it is. I'm sorry. I know this is a STEM show. I'm trying to get more people in tech and engineering and math on here, but science is my jam. Yeah.
It'll take you far. Open a lot of doors for you.
It will. So, but if anyone wanted to learn more about you and the work that you're doing, how can they find you and your work?
I'm probably most active on Twitter at Juita Martinez, and I do have like my website linked onto that Twitter, and it's just juitamartinez.weebly.com because I can't afford to pay for the actual domain. One day, once I graduate, I'll actually get the real domain.
Understandable. And so if you're most active on Twitter, what are we going to find? I already know it's going to be pelicans, but is there anything else we're going to find on Twitter?
Yeah, I try to document like me going to conferences and how those conferences are like. I've actually only been on Twitter for like a year and like a couple months. So if anyone has any advice for me, like drop me a DM and be like, I'd like to see this. I'm thinking about like actually posting videos every time I'm out in the field just to show people like what it's really like when you're out there and sun's beating and the mosquitoes are buzzing. Just trying to be more personable and put more content out just so people can like, all right, this is like, it's not all fun and like hugging pelicans, like it does take quite a bit of work. I sometimes complain about grad school because it's not that easy.
Right.
So sharing advice, sharing like experiences. I feel like I've learned so much from other people also on Twitter about like how to deal with certain situations and things like that.
Yeah, grad school, I mean, anything you're doing as far as school is wise, you're going to have the good and you're going to have the bad, you know? You're going to have the opportunities of doing what you want to do, like studying brown pelicans, and then you're going to have those opportunities of writing a million papers that has some of it has nothing to do with pelicans, and you're like, well, that's not my major, so why do I have to write about it? But it is what it is. So if there was some young girl of color who is like, oh my God, I didn't know that this was an opportunity for me, like what advice would you give them for them in going into your field?
I would say your opinion matters. Like, don't shy away and don't try to like be someone that you're not just to like get an opportunity or to try to fit in, because that thing that makes you different, that's what's going to make you stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
And I like that person that would conform. Like I would just, be super quiet and shy and just go with the flow. And now I'm opinionated. I will definitely speak my mind these days. I was also not the best student. Like, I did not have a 4.0 at all, like, not even close. Not to say that I, like, disliked school. Like, I really liked school. I had really bad testing anxiety. My test scores weren't always that great. So, like, having a 4.0, I feel like, was always mentally draining, knowing or being told in the back of my head, like, you were never good enough because you don't have a 4.0.
Yeah.
That had nothing. I have gone pretty far, and I do not have a 4.0. So don't let, like, a grade define you or stop you from going after what you want. Right.
I always say no one questions if their medical doctor is a C student or an A student. They're just a medical doctor, and you're listening to them. So...
I like that one. Oh, that is awesome. I'm going to quote you.
Please do. But yeah, like, the grades do not define us. It's our drive that defines us. So if you want it, you go for it. It's just, that's how I feel. But I do want to thank you for taking the time to be on our show. And if there are any last things that you want to tell the audience before we go.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I hope to interact with everyone on Twitter.
Yay, yes. Make sure you follow her. I will share her Twitter on my Facebook. We're on Facebook, but she's not that big on Facebook. So follow her on Twitter, and I'll definitely share it. And, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Anything else?
Oh, no. We're good.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to In the Know with Kat Bobino and the amazing, amazing future Dr. Juita Martinez. So if you have any questions for her, hit her up on Twitter. She will answer. Trust me, she answered me, so she will answer you. So make sure you do that. All right. Good night, everyone.